new location for me, right? Even got the missus back here. Crystal's back here. Give it a wave. Yeah. Well, she's here. I'm here. And we're in Destin, Florida right now, planning out our year. You may know this about me, but I kind of take life a little serious. I take it serious. I want to do big things. And it all started when I was, younger and kind of had just one of those years. And I realized, wow, a year's a long time. I can actually get a lot done over the course of a year. I can start a year and then be a completely different person by the end of it. It's a new opportunity. Every new year is that. And we hear that, we all kind of, maybe believe it when we're younger, and then as we get older, we kind of go, in reality, no, all the same crap follows me into the new year. Well, I want to take one moment to just tell you about somebody who, sure, Drew talks to us each week, but I want to tell you about a buddy of mine. In fact, my best friend, Chaz, who's actually with us. I see that he popped up here with a whoop whoop. Whoop whoop, there he is, yeah. And I just want to tell you about Chaz. Let me actually go out to share a screen because I want to, since I'm going to talk, I don't have his permission to do this. So, but this is Chaz. As you can see, Coaster G, or Chuck, as we sometimes call him. You can see it right there next to he's in his Chuck coaster. Well, Chaz had one of these years in 2021 where he started the year as one person and then ended the year as somebody different. So okay, I show that we're back now. Hopefully you didn't miss much, but talking about Chaz, and well, he's my number two. Like he's the guy that helped me create everything that I've ever created, really. And but last year, even though he's been with me, 2006, 2005, last year he actually had this year where he started off as one person and became a completely different person. He started off at the beginning of the year. He always wanted to kind of mess with electronics and 3D printing and all this kind of hardware stuff that we just really have never done. We're software guys, we're developers. And last year he decided it was going to be the year. He built a 3D printer. He built like a plotter that would take a pin and move it around and a bunch of nerd stuff. And he got into electronics and circuit boards, and like every week he's sending me something along the lines of like, oh, look at this soldering that I did, or look at this thing that I built. And last week we were chatting and we kind of had this moment of like, can you believe a year ago that this is the person that you are now? Like, you didn't know this stuff at the beginning of the year. And he looks over at me, he's like, yeah, this is like, it's so hard to believe that just a year ago, I didn't know anything about all the stuff that I'm passionate about now. And I just invite you to make this that year for you. Have you had that experience? Like that experience of, wow, that was a huge year. Like so much has changed. I know so much more, or I've changed in some significant way. Well, we can control that. We actually can control like who I want to be at the end of the year. Like we can kind of think about it and be like, I don't like something about myself or my life now. I want to be different by the end of the year. That's actually what we're doing here now, Crystal and myself. We have a big calendar, the performancecalendar.com. We have it printed off on a big laminated sheet, and we're planning out our year, and we're talking about like, where do we want our business to go? Where do we want our family to go? Where do we want ourselves to go? And we're very much planning it out and being deliberate. So I just encourage you to do that as well. But as far as here on Domain to Profit, well, let me just mention this about Chaz also. Because he's my boy. I love Chaz. I see him each week. We do game nights together and everything like that. I hope you have people like Chaz in your life. But I just want to mention, like, when you get to the end of the year and you've changed so much, what it does, it puts a fire in your belly. And it makes you think two things, these two really important things. One, it makes you think, wow, like, I look forward to seeing what I can do over the next year. Like, if I can do this over the course of this year, like, what can I do over the next year? And that's where I am. Like, I'm like so excited about every single year. I get so fired up over what's going to happen over this year because I've had that experience where life has changed so much over the course of a year and I've learned so much, and you see how much opportunity there is. But then the second piece, the second part is this. You also have that kind of moment in your gut where you're like, how many years have I lived not growing as fast or as much as I could have? Like, where could I have been if I would have spent my time wiser, if I would have learned more, and if I would have got off the couch and done this, or if I would have, instead of just dream about it, if I would have actually started on it and just learned and grown and done the things necessary. And maybe that's you. We've been at this now for Domain to Profit for well over a year. So now, over the course of a year, are you in a different place? Are you somewhere new? Do you feel like you've made progress that makes you go, that was an amazing year. I can't wait for the next year. I can't wait to see where I'm going to be next. Well, if not, I highly encourage you to take a moment to decide what dream you have that you're going to work on and just start to do it. Just start. I mean, my goodness, Chaz started with just melting circuit boards and breaking stuff. But you got to start somewhere. And he took apart like CD-ROMs to do it. Like, you don't have to spend a bunch of money and like to do this stuff. You just have to have the kind of that passion and that fire in the belly. So that's what I hope you bring today as we go into domain names. I am having some internet issues, so I got to do some restarts and things. But I'm doing that, and we'll figure it out. In the meantime, make sure, if you haven't already, say hi in the chat. As always, everybody that's in chat is super awesome. Chaz is in there as well, the guy that we've been talking about. So say hi to Chaz, say hi to everybody else. Let us know where you're from. And I am going to roll our wonderful opening. See you on the other side.
From domain to profit, from a .com to a business idea. Take a domain name, develop an income from domain to profit. We'll show you how. Domain to profit, from domain to profit. Join Drew Walsh and get started right now.
All righty. Well, cut off the music. That's what happens when we're remote. We have to figure it out as we go along. Well, just in case it went off too early, I just put back up here. There's Chazzy G. There we go. Okay, well, but behind Chaz, we have what we come here to talk about each week, and that is domains. And let me just say hi to all my glorious people out here. Lee, howdy, howdy. Chaz, whoop, whoop, indeed, sir. And then we got, where am I at? yeah, she's back there for sure. And Crystal, yeah. And you'll see her. Oh, yeah, I took her with me this time, Chaz. I drug her along with me. And Happy New Year to you as well, Kimberly. And let me see. Intentional is my word for 2020. Yeah, be intentional. Like, set your bar. Like, if you're gonna have goals, like set big goals. And I'm a big fan of like giant goals and then kind of failing. And when you fail and you have big enough goals, like you still ended up somewhere amazing. Like, we're setting really big goals this year. It's exciting stuff. It's exciting stuff. As you can see, I get geeked out about it, right? I'm geeked. Okay, and then Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everybody. Like, I think I mentioned it last week, but I freaking love New Year's Eve. It just so happens that New Year's Eve is, of course, beginning of the year. And about halfway through the year, at the end of May, is my actual birthday. So I get like a 6-month check-in between, New Year's Eve and my 6-month check-in on my birthday. So I kind of take those parts of my life really serious, because it's kind of like, well, I'm halfway through the year. Am I living up to what I wanted for myself? Am I doing the things I expected to do? And then you get to New Year's, and it's kind of like you reflect and do the same thing. So kind of naturally built into my life, I have those 2 check-ins. So behind me back there, not just Crystal sitting back here working, but beyond those windows is a glorious view of the white sandy beaches here in Destin, Florida. It's pretty spectacular. I'm super blessed to be able to be here. It's actually really cold outside, but I don't mind. Like, I like it cold. I'm all about the view more than the heat. So, well, let's look at some domains, right? I kind of previewed some of the domains like before I came on, just to see like what we're going to have some good domains or not. Oh yeah, we got some good domains today. In fact, let me go over to we're over at expireddomains.net, and we have the GoDaddy tab. GoDaddy expired domains is where we're going to start. So that will be, let's see how many we have, 428,000 domain names that we're going to be looking through over the course of, we're going to be filtering and looking through some of these domains. And I just want to show you this right on top, eyeball.com. What? Eyeball.com. Just a fun domain. Don't really have any clue what we would do to develop it, but I thought that eyeball.com was, what a fun, you don't get single keyword domains like that very often. So I just I was geeking out about it. The domainer in me was kind of like, oh, how cool is that? Eyeball.com. So I'm setting up the kind of typical filters that we set up. You will need to create a free account on expireddomains.net. That is not us. That is a free tool provided to us. And we are going to filter these domains, word count 1, 2, 3, not 11. Come on, computers, you can do this. I believe in you. Okay. And then we're going to get rid of numbers. We're going to get rid of hyphens. What else do we do? We indate. You think, okay, we want to set the max days up to 7, and that's just so we can only see the domain names that are over the course of a week, because otherwise we'll just see them next week. And then the biggest thing that we do, the most controversial probably, is we go over here and we only do .com domains. And the thought is that might change at some point. It may not always be .com domains that matter, but for now, we concentrate on .coms. They are the primary one, and if you're looking to develop, you will always, my goodness, I am having some, okay, you see that too. My browser is really having some issues. Okay, we're going to apply those filters and start looking through some domain names, figure out some businesses. We're going to make some money today, folks. Well, we're going to figure out. Okay, come on. It's amazing how much I can have laptop issues. Where'd eyeball.com go? Is eyeball not a real word? Was it spelled wrong? Well, we went from 400,000 down to 71,000 domain names. It's pretty good drop down. Okay, 1 to 3 words. So opinion polls, you can do something with that. I think there's some Yaha. I don't know. Not sure at 100% what that is. Any Spanish speakers out there? It seems like a Spanish thing, but I don't know. Maybe not. Okay, True Move, Think Cloud. Man, I felt like I saw some really good domains. Did I click on some stuff wrong here? Expired domain list. Okay, well, maybe some of the domains already are ending is maybe what's happening. I thought we had some really good ones, but maybe it was too. Yeah. Does anybody? I don't see it anymore. Didn't really have any development or business ideas for eyeball.com, but I was going to mention it at least, for goodness sakes. Well, in that case, social media market. That kind of sounds like an interesting report that you can put up. Pet work. Get dating, people. Get dating. Unless you're Lee and you just got married. In that case, don't date, Lee. Be married for a while. Okay. Social media week. Does anybody actually? Temporarystaff.com. Okay, let's click on that one. Let's check that out. Let's check out temporarystaff.com. It's an entire giant industry. In fact, while at the same time, I am going to go and open up spyfoo.com, our glorious keyword competitive research tool. Wish the internet was running a little better. It was running really well prior to the show. It's always funny how that kind of works, right? Okay, 510 is what it currently is. Temporarystaff.com, 4 days, 22 hours left. Let's check to see. And Matt's letting us know that eyeball.com is spelled correctly. I have no clue why there's something off with if nothing else, it should be 2 words, right? Maybe it was more than 7 days out or something. Maybe it's going to end later on. Temporarystaff.com, 190 monthly searches, which is actually lower than I expected. I know a lot of people probably search for temp, which I'm guessing we'll see as we scroll down here. Temporary staff, all temporary staff, best temporary staff event gigs. Not really many people. I like to see that double digits. We're only seeing single, $1.61. What do you think? If you call somebody up and you're like, hey, I'm with temporarystaff.com, I guess maybe it's too official. Nobody wants to type in full temporary. Okay, well, my thought was, an online temporary temp type place where you can fill temporary staffing stuff, maybe with bulk resumes or something like that. I'm sure there's some play there. I'm not really sure how the temporary staffing world works, but it does seem like there's a temporary staffing place in every major city or every little town, that entry-level workplace where you can go and at least have a chance at employment. So at least in the U.S. So it seems like this would be a way to, be participating in that. It would be maybe a jobs board for temporary type work. I still like I like it. I think there's something there, although the keyword tool here with SpyFoo showing that it's not anything all that spectacular. So basically a jobs board is what I'm looking at. And I don't know, I'm not really seeing it here to justify it. But my thought, doesn't matter whether it's justified or not. We will say temporarystaff.com. People can post jobs, especially remote work that can handle temporary work, maybe for data entry or phone answering or whatever it is, or actual location type work for specific events and things like that. Whatever temporary work is out there, you can post them on it, find people. There's a lot of need there. There's a reason there's retail spots all over the place. Retail is expensive, and you have all these retail stores that are, for temporary job stuff. For the love of goodness, if they can afford retail, they can afford $50 a month, $100 a month or something to be involved in temporarystaff.com. I would prefer probably other domain names, but I think it has some authority and validation necessary to make implementing like the local Legion 300, where you find those first 300 paying customers based on 300 cities in the United States, or over 300 cities with over 100,000 people in them. So you just need one temporary agency in each of those 300 cities to get your first 300 customers. Is temporarystaff.com good enough to be able to call them and them be excited about it? I don't know, maybe not. But you could certainly try it. $500, even if it's $5,000. It's a pretty good industry. I don't know. So anyhow, if you can get this domain name for $1,600 or less, I would consider it like an A-level domain, B+ for sure, for the idea of a jobs board mixed with a directory of temporary agencies and things like that. What do you think? How would you develop temporarystaff.com? And what domains would you prefer to have? I know temps.com would be good, but 5 characters is going to be a heck of a lot more difficult. And Matt is saying, yeah, it's really close to 7 days. So the filter on days for expired domains must be off. Oh, well, if you want eyeball.com, it was, I think, over $5,000 already, has a week left. Penis enhancement. There you go. Hey, sweetie, will you say penis enhancement? I got a little snicker when I said that. I love it. I'm sure her cheeks are all bright red because I just said that. Laser Expert is talking about Chaz at the top of the show, and he says that he wants to develop something with the laser for sure. He's looked into it. So there you go, Chaz. You can laser expert. In a year from now, you'll be the laser expert after you learn about lasers over this year. Freelance web design. I like it. It's long, but I like it. I like it. Let's see here. $205, 5 days left. And this is over on GoDaddy auctions. So auctions.godaddy.com. And basically expired domains. I don't mention it because I know a lot of you are with me each week, but expired domains are the domains where the previous owner is letting them expire for whatever reason. So in this case, freelancewebdesign.com, $205 currently. Of course, web design would be better. Freelance design. There's a lot of domains I would prefer to have, but if you can get this for $600 or less, there's a lot of freelance web designers out there. I mean, I got started back in 2002, 2003 as a freelance web designer. Anyhow, and in 5 days, if you want to own the three-word domain name, it might be worth looking at. Again, we're talking about a directory. We're talking about a directory showing freelance web designers. So resumes, jobs, things like that. Even those temporary, if you're looking for somebody to design a page on your site or something, boom, post the job on freelancewebdesign.com, and then freelance designers can bid on it or whatever else. You can be guru.com or fiverr.com, whatever it is. Flats to rent. I don't know if we have Lee. I think Lee is on. Flats to rent. That sounds like a good domain. We would need some international help because in the U.S. we call it apartments typically, but I know flats is especially the UK term for an apartment. Mixing UK with .com's always a little fishy. That I know .com's widely accepted over there, but so flats to rent.com. Lee will have to give us his opinion in chat. Let's see what it's going for. A week for lasers, Chaz? No, I think, yeah, you're not going to be messing with lasers around me after a week of learning. Melt my eyeball. Okay, 6 days left on flats to rent. And this is just one of those opportunities for me to kind of mention. Typically an S in the middle of a domain name is a bad thing. You really have to, especially if English is your second language, make sure that S makes sense. I don't think somebody say flat to rent. Maybe. That might actually be the better way. Flats to rent, flats for rent. I would probably prefer flats for rent versus flats to rent. But it's $12. 6 days it's going to end. Maybe worth a couple $100. If it was a better variation on those the words, then it'd be better. But it's not. Instead, we get flats to rent. Can't be a chooser when it comes down to. Can't be picky when it comes down to the domains that come through the expired domain channels. So you can probably go make an offer for $100,000 on flat to rent or flat for rent. Or maybe it's for sale for $20,000. Who knows? And it may very well be worth it or not. I have no idea. I've not researched it. But you better darn well believe if I'm going to spend 5 figures or more, I'm going to research it. That research would look like me looking at SpyFu, seeing what people are paying, seeing how many advertisers are out there. CarAccidentInjuries.com. My guidebook. Guidebook.com. Good domain name. MyGuidebook.com, not a bad domain name. top of my head, I'm thinking, $120, $180. What a good, like that would be a great, be like a good blog or something, like my guidebook, Drew's guidebook to life on myguidebook.com. So I'd say $120. Again, this is going to be more of a blog type play. So content at best. Not really sure. Guidebook's a little too general. We don't know what the topic is. So typically we look for domain names where we can say the domain name and know exactly what we expect to have on it. When you say something like my guidebook, what do you expect to have on it? I have no idea what would be on that domain name. Although crazy thought just occurred to me. Like, anybody ever remember the Anarchy guidebook or whatever, the Anarchist guidebook? I'm sure Chaz remembers that. It was like a book on how to do every underground horrible thing there is, like picking locks and all that stuff. Anyhow, go Google it. I'm sure it's out on the dark web somewhere. Greatest news, Euro taxes, tough decisions, strong living. It's some good brands in there. Of course, we don't spend much time on brands. So if you're just looking for a blog or something, sometimes they get mentioned, other times they do not. We look primarily for domain names that are authoritative domains, validating domains. You know exactly what picture is being painted when you hear that domain name. Oh, it's towing.com. What do you expect to find on it? Towing companies. It's photobooths.com. What do you expect to find on it? Photo booths. DJs.com. Discjockeys.com. What do you expect to find on it? DJs, disc jockeys. Makes sense. Okay. Elite Custom. And as always, if I miss it, feel free to yell it out in chats. I don't always catch them all. Dolphin Cove. That's a big brand down in Florida. I think it's Dolphins Cove maybe, or Discovery Cove actually. But 1996 is what that over there is saying. So it's saying like that was registered in 1996. Could be a nice resort type name. I think there's actually a trademark probably already on it, but ship local. I don't know if that makes sense. Heat view, like a thermal camera. If you sell thermal cameras or something, heatview.com. It's actually not bad. Let's see if anybody searches for that. I don't know anything about it, but I could see that being a keyword that people are actually, nope, 28 people. I'm moving on. Well, let me show what the domain name page is. Is it the Anarchy Cookbook? Is that what you're saying there, Matt? I believe so. Anarchist Cookbook, I think is what it is. Not that I am, I'm just kidding. You should check it out. It's funny. Okay, internet is running slow again. Hopefully everybody stays with me. So also take this moment as things kind of load and get going. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe over on YouTube. And somebody also mentioned that if you want to be alerted of when I go live, because sometimes it is random. I haven't done a random one in a while, but if I see something amazing that I missed and I want to go live, I will do it. You'll want to hit the bell next to the subscribe option so that way you get notified. Why you can subscribe and not get notified, I don't know. That is Google being Google, YouTube being YouTube. But if you want to be notified, there you go. But I do highly recommend you subscribe, and I appreciate it as well. And if you're watching over on LinkedIn, which we do stream over on LinkedIn now, the only thing is all the chat, all the awesome people over on YouTube on the live stream. So if you chat over on LinkedIn, you may be talking to yourself, and that's okay. I talk to myself a lot. Exclusive car service. I mean, it's an elaborate way of maybe saying limo service or something like that. Breakfast in bed and bed. Full swap. Full swap. That's maybe a little NFT swap type thing. I'm guessing that's why it's going so much. I'm not sure what full swap would mean otherwise. In NFTs being part of the blockchain, part of crypto, you can do swaps and swap out these JPEG images and things like that. You do not need some third party. It's like you can do it. And a lot of times there are trades or swaps that act as essentially a, what is the word I'm looking for? Are not arbitrage, escrow. They act as an escrow. So you can set up like a shared wallet. Somebody puts stuff in, somebody puts stuff in, boom. Everybody's happy, they pull it out. Anyhow, so escrow, full swap sounds like a good one for an escrow. Not really happening as far as anybody paying for it, but you can see there is some search volume for it. 950 is actually quite a bit. Okay, see, there you go. Those are that's some adult type stuff, I think. So that's I'm guessing Chaz was laughing the whole time knowing that I was walking into a trap. That's what I get for being naive. I don't have any clue about, so I guess swapping is a thing. So that'd be an adult site probably. Could you imagine a day back in, 10 years ago when televisioncompanies.com probably was a $10,000 domain name? Now it's like, I'm not even going to talk about it. I think it's garbage. It's like a historical type domain name. Oh, Matt's at, I knew there was something. Dolphins Cove. It's a documentary. I do remember that. Yeah, here you go. Cove in Japan where they trap a fish and dolphin. There you go. There you go. I knew there was that was a real thing. Like that's an actual. So there you go. There was a Dolphins Cove. That a great domain name though. I mean, I could see that being a resort or something where the dolphins, not so much here in Destin, Florida, but when we were in Clearwater, Florida a couple of weeks ago, you could see the dolphins right off the coast and stuff. It was really cool. We'd watch them every day at 10 a.m., go swim down the coast. Storydesigners.com. Not a bad one. I guess designers. I mean, that would be more of a marketing story type thing. Injury advocates. Doesn't sound right. Pro. Why be a pro when you could be a pro? I'm pros. Something. Okay. They all can't be winners, people. We'll go on to page 2. And I think Matt in chat is saying that he was indeed, he knew I was walking into a trap. I love it. I don't mind being a bit naive. There's nothing wrong with being naive. That's why you got to use research tools to help you, kind of check things out a little bit. Last thing you want to do is think you have some great domain name. What did I own? I owned thedrip.com, and I had that for a long time. I was going to name my coffee shop that. And then Chaz mentioned that the drip is slang for some STD. And I'm like, shit, I can't. I never opened a coffee shop. But if I would have, I was thinking the drip would be a great name. And that was a long time ago. I ended up selling that domain name for quite a bit of money to somebody. I don't know what they did with it. I think it's Gossip or something like that now. Gossip website. But anyhow, that was one of those domains. I bought it. I was thinking, the drip coffee. And Chaz, who obviously goes to different parts of the web than I do, is like, no, dude, that's SED. That's you can't name your place that. That's disgusting. I don't freaking know. Well, there we go. That's one quick way to separate your customers from, depending on what part of the web they come from. Okay. Domains are starting to let me down here. Start with an incognito Google search. Well, Google still knows what you're doing. In fact, this is part of why I use Edge browser or Brave browser. Google, yeah, you can go in incognito and hide that crap from maybe your search history or something, but Google knows about it and ties it to all your stuff anyways. They got busted for that. I don't know if you knew that, and yeah, that's Matt saying that it means to have a nice outfit, which is why I was pretty happy to have it and sell it to some clothes place instead. Let's find some good domains, people. I am curious. I do want to know, if you find a domain name and you've purchased it and you are developing it, let me know. I'm happy to keep you accountable. I will straight up call you out on this show. Like, I want domain names to be developed. And if you want somebody to help you, all of us, we are domain developers. We want you to be successful, and we will be some of your beta testers or people that can check your stuff out. We had, in fact, I should have mentioned this earlier. We've had people, Ed Miller, I believe. I don't have it in front of me, but I'm going to butcher your domain, so I don't even want to mention it. But we've had a couple people mention some of the development that they've done just recently. He did a recovery domain name for people that are overcoming substance abuse. I'll have to find that domain name so I can give it a shout out. But he developed that, managed to purchase that domain name, developed that domain name. We've had several others as well, people that are developing domain names. This is happening, and I need to shout it out a heck of a lot more. Apologies for not doing it. And if you're here live with me on the stream and you've developed something, mention it out. Like, this is good stuff. I will say that Matt, who's in the chat, he said that he is going to have game releases developed this year. So we all need to make sure that he has gamereleases.com developed in some way. Get it started. Get it started. Get it started in here. Feeling it. What the hell are these domain names? What just happened here? These are just nonsense domains. We're just on page 2 and we're already like struggling to. Went from like one page. Look at that. We just went through 2 pages of. Okay. We're going to mix it up. Let's go back out to our filters. In fact, let's reset the filters. Let's look at something different that we've not done. And this occurred to me that, so by default, we organize things by this over here. So when we're looking at GoDaddy expired domain names, they're ordered by what GoDaddy thinks a domain name's worth. That doesn't really actually matter in the grand scheme of things, but it is kind of helpful to have a reason to order things, kind of help the cream rise to the top, as they might say. Well, here's eyeball.com, which I mentioned that one. Not sure why that one didn't show up here, but I do want to pull that up just because I've talked about it so much. I might as well show it on the screen. Eyeball.com, currently close to $8,000. This is the kind of domain name that will GoDaddy expects it to go over 25,000. I would also expect eyeball. I think like it's a pretty darn good domain name, but it's not a domain name that we concentrate on the show here. We concentrate on domain names that validate, provide authority, that when you hear it, you know exactly what to find on it. And realistically, what do you expect to find on eyeball.com? Cannot for the life of me imagine you expect to find fake eyes and things like that. Maybe you do. It's a little weird. Probably not worth $25,000 if that's the case. So somebody's probably going to buy that more as a brand or something like that. So great domain name, though. You don't get a chance to get a word or a phrase that a lot of people use. When you do have that opportunity through expired domain names, it's going to cost you, which, as you can see over here, and this is what I wanted to do is, you can see it's going for a lot of money already. We have this one down here going for $23,000. Yeah, what is this? Okay, we're looking. Let's go look at what Yala is. I'm guessing it's probably some brand. 10,000 searches, no advertisers. Yalla shoot. What does yalla mean? It looks like it's Arabic. Yalla is a neighborhood in the Mediterranean smokehouse. No, wait. Okay, Yalla. Okay, I feel like I'm learning all kinds of stuff. It is the Arabic meaning for let's go. So that sounds actually kind of cool. I love that. Yalla, let's go. Yalla, people. Okay. Anyhow, but if you're, so that's why that domain name is going for so much. I assume that is a great term. However, in English, which is what I concentrate on, most people wouldn't have a clue. I do like this one too. This one I'm a little disappointed it wasn't showing up on the search. I wanted to talk about it. It's because it's out 7 days. So next Monday, this one will be ending, and it is Addfactory.com. What a great domain name. What a domain name that is an exact example of a domain name you expect. What do you expect to find on Addfactory.com? It's both a brand, but then it also tells you what you expect to find on it. I expect to find some tools to help you create ads. Like, oh yeah, here you go. You select, I want a Facebook ad, and it says, here's the different sizes that you can do on Facebook, image height and width, and select that. Then it's a factory. It's a tool that helps you make Facebook ads, or you can pay for a service, the upgraded service, which allows professionals to create that for you. Monetize through that service, or monetize through maybe a SaaS program where people pay some amount of money per month to be able to use Addfactory.com. What a great brand. So it's a lot of development. It's not something I would issues again, but okay, not sure if you lost me for a minute. Internet reset again for a moment, but Addfactory.com, I do like it, could develop it, but it would be more of a SaaS, a software as a service type of thing, where you're creating the site, and that's probably a lot more than what a domain developer is in for. At least it is a lot more than what I care to be a part of necessarily. So, but I do like it. Like, if it wasn't going for so freaking much, look at that, $3,000 already with a week left. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Like, if you're a freaking 20, 22-year-old and you're like, working in graphics or something, and you're already working in ads, that domain name is so worth it. That domain name could be the foundation of like you and your career and you and what you're building over the course of a lifetime. Addfactory.com. It could be a person. It could be like, I love it from that perspective. So anyhow, moving on from Addfactory, and yeah, just so you know, there for a moment, the internet, it's fluctuating here, but that's okay. Women's apparel. There's a middle S, but it actually kind of works there. Women's apparel. I don't expect it to be woman apparel, women, possibly a reasonable domain name. Currently, we're ordered by the domain, this appraisal, but that one's already some little bit of money already. Let's actually go over here, and I want to order by who's paying the most. What? Wrong. You can play with all these different sorts and things. I do like to sort by, and what I'm showing you right now. So I went over to the side over here and I ordered that by price. Now what that is doing is it is ordering that list based on the people, like what are people willing to pay for a domain name already? So this is why you have to wait until it's close to 5 minutes before the end of an auction. Like at 5 minutes, 10 seconds is when you place your bid. You place your maximum bid as of that point and let the proxy all work out. Otherwise, every knucklehead out there like me, like you, like every other domain investor in the world, there's lots of them, can just come here, order by what everybody else is paying, and they're just letting you, let all the early bidders do the work for them, showing them what domain names to pay attention to. Don't do that. Like, don't let that happen. If you actually want to get something at a discount, you have to wait. Now, a lot of times I will just go ahead and bid early, just out of simplicity, especially if I don't really care. Like if I get it, that's great. If I don't, whatever. But if I actually want the domain name, no. I try to wait as late as possible. You want to catch people off guard. You know, if you know a domain name is going to be $20,000 and it's only going for $200, not everybody has access to $10,000 or something. So if you kind of catch them off guard, now they don't have the ability to finance a $10,000, $20,000 domain name. And when you first take it up to $10,000, that domain name is, they're caught off guard, and now they can't go as high as what, you know, maybe a $20,000 domain name. You took it from 200 to 10,000. They're caught off guard and give up, and now you have a $10,000 domain name instead of, if you would have given them a chance, they would have taken you all the way up to 20,000. It doesn't always work, but it does often. Okay, getinshape.com. Getinshape.com. January 1st domain name right there. See what that one is going for. It's at the top of the list, so we already know it's going for a lot of money. That's because right now we are ordered by how much people are paying for. So $4,000. Is it worth it? This ends tomorrow. $4,000. Getinshape.com. Is it worth it? Yes. Yes. And let's go check. Let's not just take Drew's word for it. Let's go Get in Shape. 1,700 searches. Only 5 advertisers, close to $2 per click. So it's not setting any home runs. So based on this here, I would, in my rough estimate, I would easily drop like $3,000 on that if I had a way to monetize fitness stuff. Obviously, it's already up above that, so it's not going to be my domain name. It's going to be somebody else. If you have a way to monetize in that area, that's when you pay the big money. Otherwise, you're just speculating, right? Make sense? I think so. And then when you're speculating, do you really want to spend a bunch of money on the hope that it goes up or the hope that you can sell it for more? You can find domain names, just give it a little bit of time. You could find a $5,000 domain name that you can 100% develop and make money off of. So why speculate with $5,000 instead? Now, if you have speculated on a domain name and you bought something for $5,000 and you need to liquidate it, so that's where I come in. I buy a lot of domains from people that are liquidating something they overpaid for. Which I appreciate. Some of you on here, like when you need the money or something. Camping.com. Let's see here. Okay, having a little bit of, I see some internet issues kicking up again. Apologies. I am remote. I am in Destin, Florida currently. I love camping.com. Fun domain name. I could see that being a membership site of like a community type site. So where other people that love camping get together, share secrets and things like that, kind of a membership. So this is where I usually highly recommend you go to the B2B type things, so business to business, so where you're selling to campgrounds, you're selling to businesses, not necessarily to consumers. This one, ilovecamping.com, I believe would be very much a go to the direct consumers, get consumers to sign up as ilovecamping.com, send them out a welcome package with the crazy bumper stickers or things like that they can put on their RVs or trailers as they're driving around all those different camping spots and things. Build up that official I Love Camping brand, and then you can have a campground directory. You can have vendors, people that are selling campers, all that whole that. You can have a section where members of I Love Camping, the consumers that are already members, can sell their RV or campers for free, but otherwise they would have to pay to list it online. Okay, I'm talking myself into this. So actually I'm not logged in, so it's going to make me log in. The more I'm talking about this, the more I'm thinking this domain name has something. Oh, my freaking goodness. Okay. Well, there you go. I might bid on ilovecamping.com if I want to get back into it. Especially during COVID, camping just took off. So 750. I'd be kind of curious to know, I know Chaz used to be a camper. What he thinks about it. I love camping. I love camping meme. I love camping quilt website. There's some stuff there. So it would be a bigger play, but if you are passionate about camping, RVing, and things like that, it's certainly worth a little bit of money and trying to go after ilovecamping.com. That one is for sale. I'm going to have to mark it like that because I'm not logged into GoDaddy, the Fremont dinner. Okay. Well, 5 minutes left. I think I am going to start wrapping it up. Any domain names that I missed? Anything in the chat that I missed as well? Just kind of mentioned that the Yala is Arabic for we should go or something similar. Yeah, so we kind of came up with that. And yeah, we had some up and down on the internet. Unfortunately, I'm remote, and that's the downside of remote, the remote stuff. And I do have a tendency to miss some of the chat, especially with when 5 things come in at once. It just streams past. I can't catch it. So, oh yeah. Well, I think we found some good domain names. Let's kind of run through a little bit of summary here. We have I Love Camping, which I love the domain name. I Love Camping. Get in shape. Going for big money, but if you work in fitness or something like that, great foundational domain name for you. Addfactory.com. Same thing. If you work in ads and you're already doing graphic design, things like that, then certainly, in fact, let's switch me down to the little bitty space down here. We'll take this maximized so you can see the full picture here. Eesh. Okay, well, it's a little stretch, but Addfactory.com, love that one as well. And then eyeball.com, not really sure what to do with it, but a great brand and worth checking out. What do we got? Fullswap.com. I kind of thought about that one for an image, NFT, crypto type thing. You provide a way service for people to provide some escrow, all automated. That's a beautiful thing about decentralized stuff. Heatview.com. That was, I was thinking, thermal cameras. I always wanted to get a great thermal camera. It's one of the ones that show the heat signatures of rooms and things, and do go house to house and sell. Hey, well, I'll do an image scan of your house, show you the places where you can improve the heat efficiency of your house, and essentially that kind of thing. I want that for myself because I'm a nerd like that, and I get super into making my house as efficient as possible. So heatview.com would be a great brand for that and or service to where you can hire heatview.com to come show you where air is getting in and out of your house when you live in Ohio and it's, -5 degrees or something. it really matters that you prevent that. So myguidebook.com, didn't really come up with too much for it. Flats for rent. I don't know if we ever heard from Lee on whether that was a great one or not. Freelancewebdesign.com. I do like the play that you can do for that, both the directory as well as project work. Same with temporary staff. Boom, take those temporary employment offices that you see in different little cities around the U.S. They're paying retail prices. They're paying for that space. So they'll certainly pay you, what, $50, $100 a month to list their jobs and things on their site. So I think it's a good play. There are better domain names than temporarystaff.com, but it's not a bad way to go. So there we go. Turning off that screen, bringing me up full. There's Crystal back there again. I'm squashing your head. Alrighty. Well, nobody ever said it was all that beautiful all the time. So there we go. There we go. Lots of great domain names. And if one of them is for you and you end up getting it, this is the year, peeps. This is the year. I hope that many of you, if you haven't already started to develop or something, start to develop. You don't have to be the best developer in the history of the world, but if you can just start to so much of business, so much of learning a new skill is just being able to do it well enough to show the world something. MVP, minimum viable product, is all you're ever trying to get to, is just show here's how it would work. Here's what it is. Ideally, you can get it to the point that you can make money off of it. Like, hey, would you pay me $20? I'll put your information right there, type of thing. There's so many ways to get to that MVP, but you learning a little bit of development or learning no code is certainly one of the ways that you can do that. And this is the year. This is the year. You can be the person that by the end of this year, you look back and you go, oh my gosh, I can't believe at the beginning of this year, I had no idea how to do CSS or how to do HTML or how to build a website or JavaScript or how to query a database from a website or you choose the skills and then you just make it happen. And then by the end of this year, you'll be one of the people in chat kind of saying, oh my goodness, that's amazing. I can't believe that I've waited this long to learn such a skill. And then also one of the things that you can do is you can, when you hire programmers, you can kind of keep them more accountable because you know what it took to do it and so on. So, all right, let me check in with chat a little bit. And it has transportation aspect for Drew and Crystal. I'm trying to think of which domain name that was. But yes, if it's transportation, I'm in on it. I'm always looking for transportation. And yes, Happy New Year to you as well, Zach. Thanks for joining us. And believe it or not, last night it was 37 degrees here in Florida. So it was really, really cold. Crystal's not happy with it. Yeah, she's saying it's really, really cold. So I love it. I don't mind the cold. I'm happy with just the sunshine, mild temperatures, and an amazing view. But that's just me. So, okay. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining me. This is Domain to Profit. I'm Drew Wash. And hopefully you found great domain names that can inspire you to learn new skills, learn whatever it is that will allow you to create your own future, your own, business or hobby, whatever it is. I play in this stuff. I hope you can as well. Let's get some domain names. Let's develop them. I'm Drew Wash, Domain to Profit. See you on the other side. Take care. See you next Monday, 3 p.m.